Hi everyone and welcome back to Nick's Diecast. Today I'll be showing you and reviewing this 1/18 scale Bentley Continental Super Sports ISR made by Bburago. So this model is pretty much an okay model from Bburago. It is sold at various sites online such as Amazon, Diecast Metal Wholesale, and AmericanExcellence.com. But on these sites it goes for over $40. But there are a number of issues actually with this model in terms of detailing and overall build quality that I would say does not put this model at near $50 when it comes to both its retail price and shipping. Fortunately, I found this model actually at Sam's Club last summer for around $15. And they probably sell these at Costco and BJ's too. In about a month or so, because it is early June, they'll be having their 1/18 scale models out again for the summer and for the holiday season at all those wholesale clubs. So you can find this model in this white with the black and red interior, along with the black with like the same wheels and interior and everything. I think it also comes like a dark gray too. And Bburago also makes the soft top version where it has like the soft top up. But that one just has regular silver wheels on it. And I believe that comes in silver and I think white or something like that. But overall, if you can find this model for really cheap, I would recommend it. But for its original retail price, I wouldn't say it's that much worth it in terms of its detail. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the details of the model. We'll start up here with the headlights. Bburago did an okay job with this side in terms of the headlights. There's not really any pegs in there. The bulbs look good, they just have a bit too much chrome on them, I think. On this side, the lenses are actually, I think, too deep inset. You can see there's this big metal gap right here because this lens should actually be pushed out further, and same thing with this one. But I think they were either installed wrong or they were just pushed in too far. And if you look, you can actually see my finger through that big gap there. You shouldn't be able to see the exterior. You shouldn't be able to see like the outside through the headlight, but on this one you can. And I bet if you take this apart, you can fix it, but I don't really want to get into that. I might actually, but I'll have to see about that. Detailing on the grills is just okay. I mean, they're just like a textured plastic. They aren't really like realistic looking in terms of the mesh detail or anything like that. And the same thing with this lower grill here. It's just like kind of textured mesh. That doesn't look that great. This Bentley badge, on the other hand, is actually pretty nice looking. It's not like a three-dimensional piece. And it's not a sticker either. It's actually painted on. And at least it's centered and it isn't like rubbed off or anything like that. So at least that's nice to see. Paint quality overall, I would say, is okay. It is applied a bit thick in some areas. You can see here like that wavy like pattern when like the light hits it. Doesn't look that convincing in terms of like realistic paint. But at least there's no like orange peel or chips or anything like that on the car. The windshield is actually made of metal, which is a rare feature on most budget grade model cars. So that means you can actually lift it up on the windshield without risking it breaking or bending or anything like that. Panel gaps are pretty atrocious. I can fit my entire fingernail in that gap there. There's a gap in the lower portion of the door. On the trunk, there's some gaps you can see here. And along the hood, there's some gaps as well. Not that great. And the mirrors are plastic, and you can actually tell they're plastic because the white's like a lighter shade than the rest of the car. But at least they're sturdy. Actually, they are a bit loose, but if you put pressure on them, they're not going to break or anything like that. Wheel detailing is pretty good. Bburago did a nice job with that Bentley logo in the middle there. And the disc brakes and calipers are actually very well detailed for a Bburago model and a budget model for that matter. The disc brakes do actually move with the wheel, and they go through the caliper on all four wheels. Speaking of wheels, the wheels kind of sink out like this when you put the model down. You can see that one's like kind of bowing out back there, so you just kind of have to do that every so often. There's no suspension. Bburago doesn't do suspension. I don't know why. And their steering is like a joke because if you turn the wheels, they just go straight back. At least they do turn with the steering wheel, but that's kind of disappointing. A lot of new Bburagos have that problem, and this one is no exception. Another issue is that this model was actually underscaled too. They made this model 1/19 scale instead of 1/18 scale. I don't know why. I don't know why they couldn't make it a scale bigger. But this model is 1/19 scale. Their Lamborghini Urus is 1/20th. They made this Rolls Royce back in the day that was like 1/21st or something like that. Or no, that was 1/22nd, and their Ford F-150 was 1/21st. I'm not sure why Bburago can't get their scaling right, because Bburago and Maisto are actually under the same company, so they should be pretty similar in terms of quality and detail. But no, because Maisto has suspension and their models are pretty well scaled. And Bburago, you know, they have the spinning brake discs and all that, so it's kind of interesting and weird to kind of see that with both brands. But anyway, detailing on the rear, same Bentley badge as the front. It's nicely applied. It's not a sticker. Taillights have these two distracting pegs in each of them. Doesn't look that great. Even from a distance, you can still see them a little bit. Not that great. But these reverse lights down here, they're actually separate plastic pieces. They aren't just painted on. So that's kind of a surprising feature. And the exhaust, instead of chrome, they actually painted them silver, so they look somewhat more like convincing in terms of like hollowed out pipes. In terms of opening features, we'll start back here with the trunk. Not much to see in the trunk. There's this like kind of texture a little bit, but not much. The trunk just kind of stops. It should be going all the way back to the rear of the rear seats, but this one doesn't. It just kind of stops like midway through. They did paint the underside of the trunk lid at least, so that's nice to see. So this is kind of harsh. Let's move on to the engine. Engine detailing is okay at best. It's just kind of one plastic piece. At least it doesn't move or anything like that, but it would be kind of nice to see maybe like more detail with like the wiring and whatnot in here. There's no warning labels or anything like that. They did paint the center Bentley in silver, and there is a Bentley badge back here that does look pretty good. It's just painted on though. The underside of the hood is actually fully painted. It isn't just like undersprayed. But yeah, there could be some more detail with the engine here. Bburago's been kind of lacking with engine detail in more recent years. Interior, we'll check out the interior. The doors open on these spring-loaded hinges. They're kind of hard to open, and they make a lot of noise sometimes too. Bburago did a good job with the seats of this model. They have kind of like a leather pattern to them, and they have this like diamond stitching in the center, as you can see here. The seat belts look obviously fake because they're just plastic, and they didn't bother to paint the buckles silver. Kind of disappointing. But the seats themselves do look pretty good. I like how they did like the red stitching pattern. It is faded in some spots. I don't think they applied it too well. But the leather pattern actually continues to this cover back here where the soft top would be folded. Just the seats are very like creaky when you move them. Actually, the whole interior is kind of creaking. You can tell that's where it kind of lacks in overall quality. Door panel detailing, I would say, is actually pretty good. There's this leather pattern on the top portion of the door, that diamond stitch with that red trim in the center portion. There's also the silver door handles in there too. So I would say that they did a pretty decent job with that overall. Center console detailing is overall pretty good, I would say. You can see all the buttons are painted on separately, and they're all labeled as they should be. And the shifter is done in like a nice silver chrome. You can see the park, reverse, drive, etc. down there. The vents actually look pretty convincing in detail too. They look like they're separate pieces, but they're actually a part of the dashboard. Steering wheel detail is actually pretty good as well. There's this Bentley badge in the center here, and the gauge cluster in the back. This brown trim, I don't know if it's like wood grain or like a brown carbon fiber on the real car, but it is on the real car, and Bburago, I would say, did a pretty good job with it in this model. Take a look at the undercarriage. Not much to see in terms of the undercarriage details. Just like a chrome, like a chrome exhaust system. Nothing too detailed to see there. Overall, this model would be much better if Bburago had actually used the $50 price range to make it more detailed. And if this was offered at like a lower price, like more like $30 instead of closer to $50, it would be a good buy, I would say. But I would say it's not really quite worth the $50. If you can find it at Sam's Club, then by all means get it, because this is a really good way to kind of add like a Bentley to your collection if you don't want to break the bank or anything like that. So yeah, I guess that's it for this video. I hope that this helps. Be sure to like and subscribe. And also follow my Instagram page, Nick's Diecast page. That's all lowercase with no spaces. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you next time.